Everyone get ready to clap. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov, hinei matov. Ya la 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 la. Hinei matov, hinei matov. Ya la 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 la. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Let's hear it again. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All right, welcome to our friends and family who are in the sanctuary with us, and those who are joining us either via Zoom or via Facebook. It is so good to be together from wherever we are for this amazing occasion. Jake, boy, we had all sorts of plans as to where we would be and what we'd be doing, but I can promise you that what we're doing now is so impactful, not just to the people who are in the sanctuary, Dayenu, and not just the folks who are joining us, Dayenu, but for your own development. The confidence and the momentum that you will have from preparing for this day and leading us in prayer and intellectual thought and Torah Lishma is going to take you from here to amazing places. And Jake, we are so thankful to you and your family for allowing us to participate in this simcha with you. Some introductions: Cantor Lauren Adesnik, Rabbi Spike Anderson, Jake Summerfield, and family and friends. Everybody, if you are tuning in from somewhere, would you pop into the Facebook feed and just let us know who you are and where you are tuning in from, and wish Jake a mazel tov as well as a Shabbat shalom to everybody. A couple words as we go through for those who are in the sanctuary. We're using this red siddur, and it's pinned to your Facebook page. We'll call out the page numbers as we go so that everybody can follow along as best that they can. If there are tunes that are unfamiliar to you, or the Hebrew's unfamiliar to you, or whatever, snapping, clapping, tapping, all good. We want to send that energy and those good vibes to Jake, and he's going to reflect them right back to us like two mirrors, reflecting this energy back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The setup today, just so everybody is aware, Jake and Laura Beth and Danny as parents and Marin over to the side are up on the actual bima in the sanctuary temple Emanu-El. And about 40 feet away, Cantor and I are facing them. And then about 30 feet away on where usually the chairs are in the sanctuary, we've got about 12 people, Jake's immediate family. Everybody but Jake and his nuclear family have masks on, and we're socially, physically distant enough to be safe. And because Jake and his family are far enough apart enough there, they don't have to wear masks. The idea is that we're not sharing space. We come together for this simcha, but we are safe together. All right? And it is so good for us to be here. Friends, let's join Hinei Matov with some clapping and some snapping, getting this party started. Here we go.
Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov, hinei matov. La 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 la. Hinei matov, hinei matov. La 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 la. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Jake, there's some benchmarks which mark this occasion, this rite of passage, which is what this is, this transition of the next 90 minutes from being a Jewish boy to a young Jewish man in the eyes of your community. Leading the service is, of course, one of them. Chanting from the Torah is one of them. Giving your interpretation, your drash, is another. But what's going to happen in a moment is a beautiful symbolic representation of this status that you're gaining as a Jewish adult, and that is the tallis. So in a moment, your grandpa, Ken Klein, is going to present you with your tallis, and the tradition has it that the day before your bar mitzvah, meaning yesterday, Jay, or the day before, last week, you weren't allowed to publicly wear your talit. But now, as an outward sign of you becoming a Jewish adult, you can. And this tallis is going to be one that is a part of you and a part of your Jewish identity from this moment forward. So Ken, come on up to the microphone. That's right. And speak right to Jake. Okay.
Rabbi, what page are we on?
We are on page 5 for the tallis blessings. Ken, whenever you're ready.
As I present this tallis that I wore on my bar mitzvah, I present it to you and put it around your shoulders, and may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth. As you're embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May this simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence. As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Okay, now Jake, you're going to recite the blessing over the tallis.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit.
Mom and Dad are going to lovingly drape the tallis over your shoulders. Okay, now standing right next to him on either side, sort of flanking Jake on either side, we know, and your family knows, that families come together for all sorts of occasions, right? Some sad, this one, super happy, like elated, joyful, happy. Under this mask, I've got a big smile, right? And we Jews know that when we are experiencing a certain type of time, a certain quality of time, that we acknowledge it. And we do that through the Shehachianu, literally thanking God that we're here, that we're breathing, that we're together, hoping for this type of time, this type of sanctity, again and again and again. So please, friends, join us for Shehachianu, page 5 of your Siddur.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiranu v'hikianu hazman hazeh. Amen.
Page 6.
God be with me on this occasion of my bar mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with the sense of holiness. Inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen me within me desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bar mitzvah, I invoke your blessing upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of their parents to their children.
Jake, in a moment, you're going to lead us in Nasim B'Chol Yom, the blessings for daily miracles of life on page 7. And each of these blessings, which we as a congregation can respond to with Amen, each of these blessings is meant to be taken literally and metaphorically. There's a whole list of them with the idea that when we recognize these miracles in our life, we're not talking splitting the sea miracles. We're talking about things that are happening to us that if we recognize them, that we will have a connection, a closeness, not only with God and our community, but perhaps with the place that we are in our life. Lots of things can happen. There are people who are down, there are eyes that are closed, there are people who are entrapped. And these miracles let us know that not only can these things be rectified, but aspirationally we can have a part in making them happen. So Jay, please join us. And for those of you who are following along and participating, see which one of these daily miracles is speaking to you this Shabbat morning.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sefivina levhavchin ben yo uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'af koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'ariv shnei me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani ben chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otzer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otzer Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
On page 13, Jake, will you lead us in the responsive reading, and we will respond with the italics to you.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
Together,
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May
May
its
its
threshold be no
threshold
stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harm and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We rise for Baruch, page 15. Jake, in a moment, you're going to lead us in our Yotzer or prayer, page 15, signifying God as creator of all. One of the best things about Judaism as a religion, Jake, is it recognizes that we have chances to begin again, that we're not locked in always to what happened yesterday or last week or last month or last year. And so with each sunrise, with each time that you wake, you have a chance to begin anew, to take on each day, to do your part, and not only healing the society that's around us, but taking the world from where it is to where it ought to be. Every day that you awake, you have that chance to do it again, to start again, to try again. Yotzer or, page 15.
And Jake, before you start, turn that microphone just a little, there you go, perfect.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, hama'ir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha barachamim, uv tuvo mekadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam bechochma asita me'al haaretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al sheva ma'aseh yadecha ve'al me'orei or she'asita yafarucha sela or chadash al tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh chulanu mehera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yotzer hame'orot.
Amen. Jake, in a moment, you'll lead us on page 16 for Ahava Rabbah, about God's abundant love for us. And this always strikes me as something that's amazing. The imagery here is God as a parent, and a parent's love for a child is endless. It is beyond what we can contain. And here we have, Danny, you and Laura Beth have two amazing kids. You've got Marin and you've got Jake. And each one of them they're very different children, very, very different. And you have a unique relationship with each of them. And yet your love for each of them is boundless. Your boundless love for each of them is not mutually exclusive. You have more than enough to go around for each of your children. And it's the same idea with God's love for us, that God can love each of us abundantly, and the Jewish people abundantly, and other peoples abundantly as well. We have a unique relationship with God, and it's one that has limitless potential in terms of the love. Jake, would you lead us in Ahava Rabbah, page 16?
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola Vitera Chamalta Aleinu, Ba'avor Avotenu Ve'imatenu, Shabbatchu Vechaya Vatlamdem Chukei Chaim, Ken Tochenenu Utlamdenu, Ham Rachem Aleinu Vetain Belibenu Lehavin Ul Haskil, Lishmoa Liamod Ul Liamed, Lishmor Vala Asot, Ul Kamel et kol divrei Talmud Tortecha be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Very good. And now we're going to feel our feet on the floor. We're going to center ourselves with a nice deep breath and get ready for the Shema on page 18.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Jake, in a moment, you'll lead us with V'ahavta on page 18. Shema and V'ahavta are part of the same prayer, and it's that prayer which talks to us about when is it, Jake, the most appropriate time to have a Torah orientation, to bring out the sort of the best of our Jewish selves. And the answers that they give in the V'ahavta are when you're sitting down, when you're standing up, when you're home, when you're on your way. In other words, always. But always is a very hard thing to do the right thing always, to always sort of bring your best self forth. And so the V'ahavta lists certain reminders, right? Certain reminders. One of them is putting it on the doorposts of your house. So this Shema and V'ahavta prayer are part of the scroll that goes inside the mezuzah, that goes on your house, on your door, so that you have a reminder, you and all of us, that when we are going into our house, we are entering a sacred place, the home. Oftentimes we wear different hats or different masks depending on where we are, outside the home, inside the home. And what we have to be careful of, and perhaps the V'ahavta reminds us of, is when we come home, we bring our best selves into the house, that we treat the people who are in that home, that sacred place, with our very best, not take them for granted, and not sort of drop drop the part of us that we are most proud. We all need that reminder sometimes. It makes sense to relax when you come home, but that also means that we have to protect the relationships inside the home that mean the most to us. So that when you look at that mezuzah, that's the reminder, oh, I'm entering this amazing sacred place. I'm going to bring my very, very best self. Jake, V'ahavta, page 18.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבבך, ודיברת בם בשביך בתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על ממזוג ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי V'hem kedoshi Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzei etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim V'yotz lechem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emes.
So I'd like to call up your sister Maren. Maren, you're going to lead us in our reading about Geulah, from slavery to freedom, that we're going to find on page 19. And we're all going to respond to you, Maren, with the italics, giving you our energy as you lead us in this idea of going from a place of oppression to a place of opportunity.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in a love that creates, protects, forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love. And we sang a new song to you, and still today we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Page 20 for Michamocha.
Sur Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Ufidechin Umecha, Yehuda veYisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. And we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. This struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, transformation, a divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. I'll ask everyone to rise, please, for our Amidah, our central standing prayer. You'll find on page 21.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hapol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot ve'imavot, U'mevi Geulah livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשדי עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
So for our responsive reading on page 23, we're going to zoom in Brad Hattendorf. Brad, you're going to lead us on page 23, and we will respond with the italics.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai, our God.
Kedusha, page 24.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו. אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך. ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לא ימוש לעולם ועד. Here comes your part. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גוד לך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Jake, you're going to lead us on page 25 responsibly.
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength, a perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is a part of nature's design. The very purpose of creation, all that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismachu, page 26.
Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Right with it. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Ah, v'kadosh shevei Shabbat, Kulav yismehu, v'yitanutu lecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Uvashir rasitavo v'kidasho Shabbat. Emdan yamim, oto karata Shabbat. Yisnechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Yisnechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Zecher, 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 l'maaseh b'reishit Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh b'reishit Shabbat. Sometimes you have to wait for Shabbat. Here we go. Yisnechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat. Yisnechu v'malekutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, korei Shabbat.
We're going to ask Alan Rosen on Zoom to lead us on page 27 for our responsive reading. Alan, you're up.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes and we see nothing.
The miracles all around us and within us, we are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For
all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever.
Thanks, Alan. We're going to ask Jordy and Molly to come on up, and you're going to lead us on the reading on page 28 responsibly.
Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry.
Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have
You have
given
given
us
us
the
the
power,
power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world.
May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Sim Shalom, page 28.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha, sim, shalom, join with us, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La la la. Ya la la la. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, sim. Sim, shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
We invite everybody to take a moment of silent reflection, meditation, prayer, either using the words and conversations in your heart or the words on page 29. Our rabbis say that when we gather, we must pray for peace. Peace amongst neighbors, peace amongst nations, peace in our own hearts. Shalom Rav, page 30, with Sydney Levy joining us via Zoom.
Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon leho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol eit v'chol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Sid. It's really amazing what's going on here. Sydney just led us in Shalom Rav from Israel, where she's studying, and the idea that Sydney can be in Israel and be in our sanctuary for Jake's bar mitzvah is incredible. That itself is a minor miracle. Sid, we miss you and thank you for leading us in that. Lord Beth and Danny, on page 31, we have our parent blessing. These words have been lifted from various places in the Talmud. And these are blessings that on this particular occasion, we ask that you impart to your son.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Yeah. Okay, friends, if you'll rise for our Torah service on page 32. Mitzion Tetzei Torah
Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato. So, Jake, all throughout this morning, we have been coming to significant points in our service. The first one being when you put on your talit for the first time. And now you are about to receive Torah from all of these generations that are coming before you. So I'm going to ask your dad, Danny, to go ahead and pick up the Torah. Danny's going to hold it for a minute. Beautiful. So, Jake, this Torah is not just coming to you from Dad. This Torah is coming to you, as we talked about last week, from our ancestors, from all of the wisdom that we have studied from it, from the scroll itself, but also from your family that's here, from your grandparents, Jerry and Helen, and Dottie and Jim, and Ken, and of course, here with us, even though she's not here physically, but here in spirit, and I know she is just shining and smiling down on you, is your grandma, Joanne Klein. So all of these and everybody who has come even before them, I want you to feel their light and their love right now as you receive Torah from your dad. So mom's gonna give it a little kiss and dad's gonna place it in your arms. You got it? It's a little heavy in more ways than one. And we're gonna sing some blessings together on page 33. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Unimro B'ma Shemo Yachtav. And now the Summerfield family can undress the Torah. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach, V'Hahod. Ki hu b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, כי הוא בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני המלאכה, והמתנשא לכל ראש.
Okay. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that even though we just finished Simchat Torah and are beginning Bereshit on our master calendar, that the Torah is rolled to the middle because Jake is going to be chanting from Halotacha, which is Numbers. Why? Because Jake, you and I were supposed to be doing this from Hebrew Union College in Jerusalem in June. And then, of course, Corona happened and plans changed, and we adapt with the changes, but we did not think it was fair to you or any of our Temple Emanu-El kids to make you relearn your Torah portion because of coronavirus. And so we have turned to where you would have been reading from Jerusalem in June, and that is perfectly good enough for us in this moment. Jake, in reading the Torah and chanting from the Torah, you are taking your place as an adult in this community and showing us poise and grace and confidence and leadership, bringing the words of our ancestors into our lives and the here and now today. Thank you for doing it.
So we're going to ask everyone to be seated except for Edie and Rob Disner and Andrea and Sam Levy, who have the honor of our first Aliyah. Ya'amdu Edina Ronit, Reuben Baruch, Esther Mokabat, Calvin Ben Zion, Yochana, Shmuel Ben Mordechai, La Aliyah La Torah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'choranu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Lo yom echad tochelun velo yomayim velo hamisha yamim velo asara yamim velo esrim yom ad chodesh yamim ad asher yitzeh me'apechem v'haya lachem lezara yan Ki me'astem et Adonai asher b'kirbechem v'tivku lefanav lemor lama zeh yatzanu mimitzrayim v'yomer Moshe shesh meot elef ragli ha'asher anochi b'kirbo ata marta basar eten lahem ve'achelu chodesh yamim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natav b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, you can do some air hugs and be seated. And for the honor of our second Aliyah, we have some very proud grandparents, Ken Klein, Dottie and Jim Justy, Helen and Jerry Summerfield. Ya'amdu, Calvin Ben Zion Ben Baruch, Deborah, Gershon, Huda, La Aliyah La Torah. Whenever you're ready, you can offer the blessing for our second Aliyah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim, v'nosan lanu es Toraso. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Hatzan uvakar yishachet lahem umatzah lahem im et kol tegeh haya yasef lahem umatzah lahem. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe hayad Adonai tiksar ata tireh hayikrecha devarim lo vayetze Moshe vayadaber el ha'am et divrei Adonai vaye'esov shivim ish mizignei ha'am vayamed otah sevivotahu.
Yasher Koach. All right, take it away, grandparents.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu toras emes v'hayei olam notah b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosen haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful air hugs and kisses, and you may be seated. And for the honor of our third Aliyah, we call to the Bima. Very, very proud parents, Laura and Danny Summerfield. And this is especially we have a double mitzvah today because it's not only Jake's bar mitzvah, it's happening on a very special day, Dad's birthday. So extra mazel tov. Ever you're ready.
Baruch et Adonai Chavarach.
Baruch Adonai Chavarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Chavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayered Adonai ba'anan, vayadaber alav, vayatzel min haruach asher alav, vayitein al shivim ish hazekenim, vayehi kenoach alehem haruach, vayidnabe'u velo yasafu, vayisha'aru shnei anashim b'machaneh Shem ha'echad Eldad v'Shem ha'sheni Medad v'Tanach alehem haruach v'hema bar ketuvi v'lo yatzeu ha'ohela v'yinabe'u b'machaneh Vayarot hana'ar, vayagid leMoshe, vayomar Eldad omedad mitna be'im b'machaneh.
Yasher Koach. Mom and Dad, you're up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All righty. Jake, hugs to Mom and Dad. And Jake, you're going to go have a seat just for a moment, right next to Marin. So Jake, here's our stop number 3, if you will. So now you are really intertwined with the Torah. And in this next moment, once I call you up by your Hebrew name, you are literally going to ascend into becoming a bar mitzvah. This is the moment that everybody asks, when do I really become the bar mitzvah? Now. And you, by sitting and then rising and walking up to the Torah, are physically demonstrating that ascending into becoming a bar mitzvah. But we know that this is not just something on the surface, that this is something that runs really deep. And so as you are physically ascending to the Torah, you are also moving up to an even higher spiritual level. But you are not just doing that on your own. By your becoming a bar mitzvah, you elevate every single person in this room, Every single person all over the world today is elevated by your taking your place as an active member, fully active member of our Jewish community. So it is my pleasure to call you up to the Torah as an official bar mitzvah. Come on up. Yamor habachur habar mitzvah, Yaakov Noah ben Levi v'Leah bracha, la'aliyah Torah. Please offer the blessing.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vayan Yehoshua bin Nun, Meshared Moshe, Mi Bechora, Vayomar, Adoni Moshe, Kelaem, Vayomar, Lo Moshe, Hamekane Ata Li, Yiten, Umi Yiten, Kol Adonai Nivi'im, Kiten Adonai et rocho alehem vayesof Moshe el hamechane hu vezikne Yisrael.
Yasher Koach.
Jake.
Yasher Koach. Beautiful job, Jake.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Okay, beautifully done. Lord, Beth, and Danny, would you flank Jake on either side and put a hand on his shoulder? Okay, and Jake, look at me for a sec. Yeah. Wonderfully done. And we are going to give you now a special Misha Baruch blessing for your spiritual development, for your ongoing spiritual development, asking for this to be a cornerstone for you to push off on. If everybody would please rise. We'll do it in Hebrew then English. Misha Baruch Avotenu b'Imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yavarach, et Yaakov Noach, Ben, Levi, Leah Bracha, Shehagia lemitzvot la'ala l'Torah. Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Yismirehu v'chayehu, v'chonen et libo, v'yot shalem im Adonai Elohav. Hago b'Torato la'lecha b'drachav v'mlishmor mitzvotav, v'yimsechen, v'sechel tov, b'nei Elohim v'adam v'namar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Jake, who's come up for an aliyah on the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Okay, friends, we can be seated. And Dan, if you'll take the cover and just place it on top of the Torah. There you go. Jake, you're going to get ready for your Devar Torah, your Drash, where you're taking what you chanted from Numbers and what you studied over these last couple months with the cantor and rabbis, taking some of the words from sages who've studied the same exact thing, putting it through the lens of what is Jake Summerfield giving us your thoughts, ideas, and lessons on how we can take these words and live by them today. Go ahead, Jake, whenever you're ready.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Becha Aloteha from the book of Numbers, which describes the freedom of the Israelites on their journey from Egypt to the Promised Land. The Israelites were slaves for 400 years. One day, God told Moses to free the slaves in Egypt, and I will guide you. Moses then led the Jews out of Egypt. Along the way, drama started up. Moses' sister and brother, Miriam and Aaron, criticized Moses because he married a Cushite woman named Zipporah. The Cushites historically were a black-skinned people. She was different from everyone in the camp, and her difference made people curious. Tradition has it that Zipporah was also exceedingly beautiful. God disapproved of Miriam and Aaron's treatment of Moses and their slandering of his wife. God asked them to come to the tent of meeting to talk. At the tent, Miriam complained to God that she was a prophet just like her brother, and she expressed jealousy at the attention and respect that Moses received from both God and the people. Because of Miriam's slander, and perhaps because of her jealousy, God punished Miriam with leprosy, which is a skin disease that turns your skin deathly white. Upon seeing their sister diseased and suffering, Moses and Aaron pleaded with God, saying, I beg you, my Lord, let her not be like a corpse, like one who leaves his mother's womb with half his flesh have been consumed. Moses then prays to God with the shortest prayer in all of Torah. It's only 5 words. El na rafa na la. Please, God, heal her now. Miriam was sent out of the camp by God for 7 days to quarantine, was healed, then she returned to her people. A rabbinic commentator, Nehemiah Leibowitz, teaches us that Miriam was punished because she slandered Zipporah, and it was justified because slander can also be so harmful. Slander is making false statements and hurting someone's reputation. I was always taught as a kid that lying is bad, and you should treat people how you want to be treated. You don't want to harm other people because it isn't the right thing to do. A famous rabbi named Chafetz Chaim once had a student who did not understand the harm of slander caused. What's the big deal? He asked his teacher. Chaim tells a story of a man from a small town who liked to embellish stories that he's heard from other people. The story he tells are funnier and more compelling than the truth. The man's stories were retold again and again until they finally were retold to the main character of the original story. The small town's rabbi told the man to bring a feathered pillow to his study, then instructed him to open the window. The rabbi handed the man a knife and told him to cut the pillow open. Feathers went everywhere. They landed on the floor, the desks, a teacup, and even outside the window. Then the rabbi ordered the man to collect all the feathers and put them back into the pillow. The moral of the story is once something slanderous leaves your mouth, you can't take it back or you don't know where it will land, just like the feathers in the pillow. Miriam spoke slander against Zipporah. Miriam slandered Zipporah because of her skin color. She was being racist, and that connects to the Black Lives Matter movement and what they're fighting for today. Black Lives Matter is dedicated to fighting racism and anti-Black violence, especially in the form of police brutality. Black people have been killed by police and have been harassed by other people just because of the way they look. The recent killing of Black people by police has been very disturbing because they didn't do anything to deserve all the terrible things, just like Moses' wife didn't deserve all the negative attention. The only reason why they are striking and rioting is because they want to be treated fairly. They want to be equal instead of being harassed. My neighborhood has tons of Black Lives Matter signs to help promote racial awareness. Becoming a bar mitzvah means that now I'm an adult in the Jewish community. This means I will actively participate in our family's holiday traditions and study Torah on a more meaningful level. As an adult in the Jewish community, I plan on continuing my studies of Torah and its teachings. I strive to be a role model for younger kids in the Diamond Family Religious School. I really looked up to the Madrachim during my Sunday school experience and hope to do the same. This past summer would have been my 6th summer attending Camp Judea in Hendersonville, North Carolina. COVID-19 prevented me from going, but it is very important that I continue the journey of Kehillah, the Jewish value of community. Community is a value that is important to me because without it, we wouldn't have support, teachers, tzedakah, and family traditions. Giving back to my community is easy to accomplish because I like helping others and making people smile. For my mitzvah project, I entertained residents of the Summerby retirement home by playing piano. Every month, I get to see all their smiling faces and hope to do so when I visit them again, when they're ready to have me back. I was originally supposed to be becoming a bar mitzvah at the Hebrew Union College's courtyard in Jerusalem. It's very important that I visit Israel with my temple family when it is safe. I would like to step foot on the same land as my ancestors. Israel is important to the Jewish people because it is our homeland. Now I would like to thank all the people that got me to this moment. My tutor, Joanne, you have been super helpful throughout my preparation for today. You and I were able to adjust to virtual learning seamlessly, and you stuck by me for the extra months beyond my original bar mitzvah date. Thank you so much for all your help and support. Rabbis Rachel and Max, you both were so patient with helping me learn the stories within my Torah portion and guided me in connecting them to my life. I appreciate everything you did to me and truly enjoyed our time together. Rabbi Spike and Cantor Adesnik, thank you for keeping me on track and supporting me to get to this day. I couldn't have done it without you. Dad, I look up to you. You make me laugh all the time. You push me to do my best, and I really appreciate it. Mom, you're the best mom in the world. You help me with staying on task and always support me in whatever I'm into. Plus, you're an amazing chef, and you helped me learn the love of cooking. Marin, you are a great sister, my first friend and playmate for at least 9 of your 11 years, until you discovered TikTok. I love you anyways. And finally, to family here in the sanctuary, thank you for being here and witnessing this important day of my life. Family and friends out there in the virtual universe, I appreciate all your support and love on this day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I don't think there's any doubt that we just heard from a young man sharing really important words. Friends, if you'll rise on page 39 for Eitz Chaim.
Eitz Chaim l'machazikim ba l'tomecha meushar דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו
Please be seated. So Jake, Cantor and I have said it before, but it's worth repeating. Of all the things we get to do as clergy here at Temple Emanu-El, including high holidays and weddings and ruckus Friday night services, what we've been doing with you for the past many months is absolutely our most favorite thing, which is getting to know you at a pretty deep level and studying Torah Lishma, study for the sake of higher thought, higher thinking. Jake, when I got here with my family 6 years ago, your family reached out to us very early on, and clearly your family, both the family that's living in your home and your extended family, are real leaders here at Temple Emanu-El, in the Jewish community locally, and even in this region. You are from a family of leaders and proud Jewish people, and as either your mom and dad once said to me, whatever else happens, the Summerfields will show up, right? You show up. Dad leads brotherhood, right, which is a very big deal. Mom is one of the pillars of this generation in Temple Emanu-El. It's a very big deal. So you've got some big footsteps, but so far you're filling them, right? Showing up and really engaging at religious school, both with your peers and as a role model for the younger kids. Going to Camp Judea, I know your family is really involved in Judea, right? And having that amazing experience of Jewish camping, being involved in youth group through the synagogue and the area, right? And now you're starting to get into the deeper level of not just the life cycles and the rituals, but the prayer, right? We Jews have this mission, and you talk about it, this mission of how do you take the world from where it is to where it needs to be. Sometimes being a leader is not easy. Sometimes speaking the truth is not popular. And sometimes doing the right thing comes with pushback. So if nothing else, your study of your Torah portion and the things that you bring to the surface are hints into that realm. Know that when you speak truth to power, and that when you stand up for what's right, even when there's pushback, even when it's not popular, Jake, that you've got 4,000 years of Jewish wisdom, tradition, Judaism, and the Jewish people on your side. That is a pretty good group to have at your back as you're doing this type of thing. We were supposed to be together with also most of your extended family who's in the sanctuary tonight or today, this morning, in Israel. And I remember as we're getting ready for the trip, you asked me permission to create a playlist for the bus so that we could have a playlist for our bus ride through Israel. And as you asked me, I pictured that. I pictured, a bus ride from the extreme north, from Sfat and all the way through Jerusalem and down to the Dead Sea, and the tunes that we would be rocking to as we went through the promised land. And what I would ask, Jake, is that you keep working on that playlist, right? That you don't put it down, that as you hear a song that you think would be good for that playlist, that you add it to your playlist, because when we get there, and we will get there, I want that playlist to be our theme music for the 10 days going through Israel. All right, this way we keep it alive, right? We're here and this was an amazing experience and you did an amazing job in leading us, but this is just the beginning. This is just a step in the journey. And I am looking forward to being a part of that ongoing journey with you, your amazing family, right? And where you lead us. We need leaders. We need people who show up with intention and passion, right? And also folks who help us recognize with gratitude the bigger picture. And you are well on your way to doing that and being that for us here at Temple Emanu-El and our Jewish community. So thank you.
Jake, way back in this month of 2013, I was introduced to the Summerfield and Levy families during Tashlich. And Jake, your mom and your aunt Andrea were two of the first people to come on up to me. I remember it so clearly. And your mom said, "Hey, I'm Laura Beth," and it's Laura Beth. And this is my sister Andrea. It's just been so amazing to get to know your whole extended family, the love that they have for each other and for you and for this amazing community is so apparent. And it's been just amazing to feel just a small part of that and to be a small part of that. Jake, you spoke about the value of Kihila in your Devar Torah, and you really understand this value. You live this value, and you do it with this sense of grace and maturity and kindness and sensitivity. And the way that I know that is because I've gotten to watch you grow, and I've gotten to watch as you participate in our Sunday school classes together. Now you are graduating from that class, and you get to be a madrich, but you always put your ideas forward And at the same time, you always give your classmates a chance to participate as well. So you have this amazing balance of making sure that you are putting yourself and your ideas forward, and that you are also allowing others to do the same thing. And that is really what it means to build community. And so as you go forward from this day, I'm so excited to watch you continue to grow into this amazing young Jewish man and to continue to build this community. It's going to be amazing. Mazel tov.
So now, Cantor and I get to lead the priestly benediction, as our clergy have been doing with their young people at times like this since the beginning of time as we know it. I'd ask everyone to rise, please. And on behalf of the folks who are in the sanctuary and those who are joining us from wherever they are, Jake, we offer you the priestly benediction.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's face turn toward you, Jake, and grant you the greatest gift of all, your family in your arms, surrounding you by love, the Torah and the Jewish tradition at your back, propelling you forward, the Ner Tabi, the eternal light of the Jewish people above you and surrounding you, all doors open, hope, a sense of belonging, kahila, and peace. And to that we say,
Amen.
Okay, friends, I'll ask you to have a seat. And this is the time where Mom and Dad get to say some nice things about you, Jake.
I want to sit down.
I'd like to start by thanking the Rabbi and Cantor for leading us, and the whole temple clergy for all your help and support. And thank you, everybody online, for joining us, and our family here. And this come from far to be with us as well. With all the concerns of the pandemic, we truly appreciate y'all being here and all the support and love. To Mr. Jake, let's see here. As time goes by and you get older, you'll learn that there are moments in your life that when they occur, they become seared into memory. They are so impactful that it feels as if time actually stands still when it happens. Freeze. You'll never, ever forget these snapshots in time. Like when you were born, your mom and I just knew that you'd be a girl. Surprise! God gifted us you, our handsome little son. But your breathing was abnormal and the doctors whisked you off to the ICU so your retractive breathing could be controlled and you could chill out. You were eventually fine. You just needed some time to acclimate to your new world. We remember all of this vividly. This was seared into our memories.
Fast forward to you attending the Schiff Family Preschool here at Temple Emanu-El. We would sometimes refer to you as the rabbi. You were such a little leader. Look at you now. Leading us. Throughout all the curveballs that COVID has thrown you, having to reschedule your bar mitzvah, canceling Israel, and adding readings, you never complained once. Your love for learning, your curiosity, your tenacity are so impressive and admirable. Your dad and I had no doubt you'd knock it out of the park today. You've done an amazing and beautiful job.
Jake, as you continue your journey of life as a Jew, take with you the lessons learned in your Torah portion today. Keep bringing happiness to those around you with your music, your kindness, your sense of humor, and the fairness and equality that you always strive to bring to the situation. Whether you're learning a new sing-along tune on the piano, or belting out a trumpet or a French horn solo in the band, for lending guidance at Temple as Madrahim. Embrace your leadership skills in all aspects of your life. Keep being you, Jake, the fine young man we love and adore.
I would be remiss not to mention how special it is to be surrounded here in the sanctuary by our family, to have our friends and family who have joined us virtually, and for those who are forever in our hearts. I feel Grandma cavelling from above.
We love you very much, and we are so very proud of you and your accomplishments.
Mazel tov.
Give Dad a hug too. Yeah, get in there. All right. Friends, if you'll rise for Elena, page 40, and Maren, would you and Jake open the ark for us? Okay, Jake, if you'll go up with your sister. Mom and Dad, take a step forward. Here you go. Page 40, Elena.
Alinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor alenu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, livnei melech, Mochei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'chaya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, Vayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Close the ark. And everyone can be seated, with the exception of the four who are up there. Come on up, right to the bima. Friends, we're getting ready for our mourners Kaddish, which you'll find on page 41. Jake, it's been mentioned that those who have loved you most and who are not here are looking down, and specifically your grandma Joanne, looking down, and we Jews believe that they and she are here, and Jake's smiling because of what you're doing, With that in mind, if you are either here or wherever you're tuning in, if you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days of mourning a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise and remain standing. If you're in the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise now and remain standing. If you are commemorating a yahrzeit, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise now and remain standing. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask you to do so now. Picture, if you will, the person you are saying Kaddish for. Picture them healthy and strong. And now picture their eyes meeting yours. And together you smile. Yitgadal v'yitadash merabah. Elma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael. Agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita la, shmei dukucha, richu. Ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiram be'alma v'imru. Amen. Hey Shlama Rabba min Shemaya. Chaim Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'imru Mav. Uya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru. Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'imru Mav. Uya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imru Mav. Uya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imru Mav. Uya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru. Amen.
Okay, you're going to do a little shuffle to your left where the Kiddush cup and the challah can be found. Check if you'll pick up that Kiddush cup. And in doing so, we sanctify this day and this time with all of the emotions that we have in this particular moment in time and period, including the elation and the gratitude of being here together. Jake, put it up, put it up. All right, here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei puri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim lebracha.
Take a drink.
Okay, and if you, Jake, and Maren would pick up the challah. Okay, you can pick it up on the tray itself and hold the tray together. And this challah woven together, and I saw your Aunt Edie's challah, Jake. That was pretty crazy. That was amazing. So challah, obviously an important piece of your family, and here now woven together like a family and a community woven together. Let us say Hamotzi together again, giving thanks for just being here together and what we're able to do despite the difficulties. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Sivan tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'sivan tov, sivan tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'sivan tov, sivan tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'sivan tov. Yeilanu, 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 u'bechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, u'bechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, u'bechol Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, u'bechol Yisrael.
Shabbat shalom and mazel tov, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.